Each week, we bring you stories of athletes who have overcome adversity in their lives to succeed in school and in sports.
Kiara Biagini joins us now with the story of a cancer survivor back on the rink with his team.
Robert, tonight we meet Nick Norcia, who is celebrating life in remission. Nick is recovering from leukemia and back to a normal life after a 4-year battle.
Nick Norcia is a sports fanatic. Growing up, he played them all. Basketball, baseball, soccer, golf, roller hockey, you name it, he played it. Nick's life revolved around sports. That was until January 30th, 2014, when Nick's life changed forever.
Well, it happened around midway through 7th grade, probably. I started getting really tired very easily. I wasn't feeling very good. I had a headache. I couldn't focus in school. So I eventually went home, and then I had a regular doctor's appointment that I went to that day. And the doctor noticed I was looking kind of pale. So she asked if she could take my blood to see what my levels were all at. They sent me up to Stanford, and about an hour before my 13th birthday, I got diagnosed with leukemia. So, yeah.
Not exactly the best way to spend your birthday, but right away, brave young Nick accepted reality and began his fight against leukemia with his head held high.
My parents kind of took it a lot worse than me. They were crying, and I'm just like, I had always heard of what leukemia and cancer was, but I never really understood. So I wasn't really all that shaken. I'm just like, all right, I guess this will just be something to kind of go through.
Nick endured 9 months of chemotherapy, poison being pumped through his body. Then Nick began a long and heavy medication regimen, which the 13-year-old impressively managed himself.
As they call it, a medicine cocktail. It's a lot of different chemos. It all affects you differently. There's one that made me lose my hair, but all of them really had the same effect of really weakening your strength.
Being diagnosed with leukemia is never in the game plan. All the doctor's appointments, treatments, and side effects made it very hard for Nick to grow up like a normal kid.
When he was stuck at home or stuck in the hospital, I really felt sad for him, for his social stuff. He didn't get to go to dances. He didn't get to go to school. He didn't get to go play, anything. He didn't get to ride a bike. He didn't get to, and that's the part that was hard for me. I'm a social person and he's a social person. I think the hardest for me was watching him miss out.
But despite the terrible burden laid upon the Norcia family in 2014, there was the other side. The positive side, the overwhelming show of support from his community, friends, and neighbors, showing Nick he wasn't fighting this battle alone.
I started to do research and Google it, and I was like, what is leukemia, and going deep and what it does to your body and how it affects you. And it just kind of hit me hard because I'm like, I've known this kid since kindergarten and he's been my best friend. He's always been there for me. So I'm like, I have to be there for him and always make sure that he doesn't feel alone.
And maybe this support is what kept Nick positive during this entire ordeal.
I think it says a lot about him that he never complained. And even now to this day, he doesn't complain, he doesn't use it as an excuse. I mean, he could go into class all the time and say, well, I didn't get this done because, I have leukemia. And I respect him a lot for that because it's easy to fall into that and be a victim to this whole thing. But he never did, and I think that showed a lot of character and a lot about him.
Today, Nick is in remission playing roller hockey for Leigh High School. The leukemia is gone, and the doctors don't expect it to come back. He's playing sports with life back to normal and a smile on his face.
You just gotta be positive because I think a lot of things would be different if I didn't keep a good mental attitude. If you really stay positive, the bad things don't faze you, and if you just focus on the good, more good will come, and the bad just doesn't really bother you. So it's really just being positive and making sure that you have a community of people that are there for you.
Nick and his family was incredibly positive during this whole ordeal. This type of leukemia now has a really good survival rate, but getting to this point is not easy, and he battled through it, and he's doing a lot better.
Yeah, anybody that has to go through chemotherapy and all that stuff is just very tough, but like you said, incredibly positive during the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, very good, thanks.
Hi, I'm Lucy Wedemeyer, longtime real estate broker, and I'm teamed up with Keith Andrew, my favorite son-in-law. Many of you remember Charlie Wedemeyer, my husband. We both support high school sports.